So after a gap of one day, yesterday there was no any class. Okay, so welcome to all of you on the platform of online platform of the civils, and join us as soon as possible so that I can start my class. Very good afternoon to Sonali, Sefali, Harsh. Join us as soon as possible. Very good afternoon, Salma. Today I am going to discuss about the constitutional history of India. Okay, constitutional history of India, but this constitutional history will not be the part of independence India. Okay, before independence, British Parliament passed many laws or act to regulate, passed many laws, and I am going to discuss about all those laws which are passed by the British Parliament to regulate their trades or administration in India. Okay, so this will be our topic today. Very good afternoon, Virendra. So join us as soon as possible. Okay, and under the topic and in history, today our topic will be constitutional history of India. Okay, constitutional history of India. Okay, constitutional history. Constitutional history of India. This is very important. Okay, constitutional history of India. But in this topic, I am not going to discuss about the constitutional development that took place after independence. Okay, the constitutional history of India, or the constitutional history of India, which means the India under the Britishers. Okay, because we all know the East India Company, okay, which was a private trading company, visited India for trade, but established their political supremacy over India. Okay, now the British Parliament, after some time, okay, the British Parliament tried to control the activities of East India Company in India. Okay, so that they passed many acts. British Parliament passed many acts, and under this topic I am going to discuss all those acts which are passed by the British Parliament, okay, to regulate the administration and the administration related to civil and military administration as well as commercial administration. Okay, so today I am going to discuss about the act which was passed by the British Parliament to regulate the military administration, civil administration and commercial administration. Okay, now, so this is our topic, constitutional history of India. Now, this constitutional history of India, we will cover this topic under two headings. And remember one thing, this topic is very important for pre. Okay, and there are some acts like Government of India Act 1909, 1919 and 1935. These three acts are very important for mains. Okay, so this constitutional history of India, we will study this constitutional history of India under two headings. Okay, the first is constitutional development during the rule of East India Company. Okay, constitutional development under East India Company, because we all know till 1857, 58, okay, there was a rule of East India Company over India. Okay, so constitutional development under the rule of East India Company. This is the first heading. Okay. Okay. Now, the second is the constitutional development under the Crown rule. Okay. The constitutional development. The constitutional development under Crown rule. Crown rule. Okay, means before 1857. Before 1857. Okay, constitutional development before 1857, and here is what? Constitutional development before after 1857, because we all know before this 1857 means 1857 is a very important year in the history of India, because this was the year when the revolt of Sepoy revolt took place in India. Okay, before that, before the Sepoy revolt, India was ruled by East India Company. Okay, and after this revolt, okay, the East India Company rule ended, and in place of East India Company, okay, the rule of Crown was established over India. Okay, so under these two headings we will discuss in detail about the constitutional history of India. Okay, constitutional history of India before independence. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now, under constitutional development of India, under the rule of East India Company, we will discuss about the following acts, and these acts are very important for pre-examination. First is the Regulating Act. Okay, the first is Regulating Act 1773. Okay, Regulating Act 1773. Okay, the second is Bengal Judicature Act. Bengal Judicature Act 1781. Okay, then we will discuss about Pitt's India Act. Pitt was the Prime Minister of Britain. During his prime ministership, the British Parliament passed an act called Pitt's India Act. And remember one thing, Pitt was the youngest Prime Minister of Britain. He was only 24 years of age when he was elected as a Prime Minister of, okay, Pitt's India Act. Pitt's India Act 1784. Okay, then number 4 is Act of 1786. Okay, these are very important acts, and when you will solve the question, previous year question, you will get lot of questions from these acts. Okay, the fifth act is the Charter Act 1793. Okay, the Charter Act 1793. Charter Act 1793. Sixth is the Charter Act 1813. Okay, number 7 is Charter Act 1833. Charter Act 1833. Okay, and last is the Charter Act 1853. Okay, so these acts were passed by the British Parliament to regulate the administration related to civil administration, okay, then military administration and commercial administration. Okay, to regulate all these things, the British Parliament passed these following acts. Okay, so just copied this, the act I have written here. So there were 8 acts passed before 1857. Okay, and at that time, okay, when these acts were passed, India, the administration was in the hand of, means India was ruled by East India Company. Okay, now, so very good afternoon to all of you. Okay, those who are joining, very good afternoon. Now, the second is the constitutional development under Crown rule. Okay, because we all know that after the revolt of 1857, the rule of, okay, East India Company was ended, and in place of East India Company, Crown rule was established. Okay, under this Crown rule, okay, British Parliament passed many act. Okay, many act. The first act was Government of India Act 1858. Okay, the Government of India Act, the Government of India Act 1858. Okay, it is also known as, this act is known as the Act for Good Governance. Okay, the Act of Good Governance, the Acts of Good Governance. Okay, the Act of Good Governance. Now, the second is the Council Act. Okay, Indian Council Act 1861. Okay, Indian Council Act, Indian Council Act 1861. Okay, so this was the act. Third was Indian Council Act 1892. Okay, Indian Council Act 1892. Indian Council Act 1892. Fourth is Indian Council Act 1909. Okay. Sixth is Government of India Act 1919. Okay. Seventh is the Government of India Act 1935. This was the last act passed by the British Parliament. Okay, and we all know more than 200 articles of this act, okay, we have taken directly into our Indian Constitution that was framed by the Constitutional Assembly after, okay, for independent India. Okay, the Constitutional Assembly that formed the that was responsible behind the formation of Indian Constitution. That Constitutional Assembly took more than 200 articles directly from Government of India Act 1935. Okay, so these were the acts passed by the British Parliament. Okay, British Parliament to regulate the administration. Okay, because we all know we were under Britishers. So British Parliament, we were under the British rule. So the British Parliament passed many laws to regulate the civil administration, military administration and commercial administration. Okay, and for that purpose they passed many acts. So I hope it is clear to all of you. Now I am going to discuss each and every act one by one, which is very important. But the Indian Council Act 1909, Government of India Act 1919 and Government of India Act 1935. These three acts is very important for your mains examination. Okay, these three acts are very important for mains. Otherwise, all other acts are very, very important only for pre. Okay, not for mains. But we will prepare in such a manner that if any question, okay, by chance comes in the mains, you will be able to write. Okay, so this is what the chart of constitutional history of India. I hope it is clear to all of you. Okay, now I am going to discuss one by one. First, I will discuss Regulating Act, then Bengal Judicature Act, Pitt's India Act, Act of 1786, Charter Act and Charter Act 1813. Okay, now so I am going to discuss all these acts one by one. Okay, now, but I am not directly starting from the Regulating Act. The first I am going to discuss about the Charter of, okay, the Charter of 1600. Okay, the Charter of 1600, this is also known as Gazette of 1600. Okay, this is not passed by the British Parliament. Okay, the Charter of, okay, the Gazette of 1600. Okay, we all know on 31st December 1600, okay, the British Crown, okay, 31st December 1600, this was the date. Okay, on this date, the East India Company, which was a private company, got trade monopoly right. Trade monopoly right. Okay, from British Crown. Okay, and the British Crown, the British Queen was from British Queen Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor first. Okay, so by this charter, which was passed with the Charter of 13 December 1600, East India Company got trade monopoly rights to trade with, Eastern world. Okay, the company got trade monopoly rights, means no other, apart from by this charter, it was clearly mentioned in that charter that no other companies would be provided license to trade with Eastern world. Okay, it was clearly mentioned in that only East India Company. Okay, by this charter, trade monopoly rights was given by the Crown Queen Elizabeth Taylor to East India Company to trade with Eastern world. Okay, and in this charter it was clearly mentioned only trade, no territory. Only trade, no territory. Territories. It was clearly mentioned in that. Okay, but remember one thing, this charter was not passed by the British Parliament. It was issued by the Crown, the Queen, because we all know in Britain there is a constitutional monarchy. We are republic, but Britain is constitutional monarchy. Head is the Crown. Okay, so this charter of 1600, okay, which was issued on 31st December 1600, by this charter East India Company got trading rights, trade monopoly right to trade with Eastern world from the British Queen, okay, Elizabeth Taylor. And in that charter it was clearly mentioned only trade, no territories. I hope it is clear to all of you. It is clear. And remember one thing, this trade monopoly rights was given for 15 years only. Okay, 15 years. Trade monopoly rights were given to the East India Company for 15 years to trade with Eastern world. Okay, and in that charter it was clearly mentioned only trade, no territories. Is it clear to all of you? Write in comment box. Is it clear to all of you? Then I will move to the second, the Regulating Act. Okay. Now, the second is the Regulating Act. Okay. The second is Regulating Act. Okay, now this is very important. This was the first act passed by British Parliament. Okay, the first act. This was the first act passed by the British Parliament. By the British Parliament to overall the administration of East India Company in India. Okay, overall the administration of East India Company in India. So this was the first act passed by to overall the management of, to overall the administration, or we can write here the management of, overall the management of East India Company in India. East India Company's rule in India. Okay, overall the East India Company rule in India. Company's rule in India. Okay, so this was the first act. Regulating Act was the first act passed by the British Parliament to overall the management of East India Company's rule in India. Now, why the British Parliament passed this act? Because look here, the East India Company from the Charter of 1600, they got the trade monopoly rights. But why after 173 years, the British Parliament decided to control the administration or the management of East India Company's rule in India. Okay, what was the reason? Why the British Parliament passed this? This is very important. Now, why after 175 years? Because 1600 they got charter, and 1757 Battle of Plassey, and after that we all know the British East India Company rule was established. Okay, after 100 years, 175 years, 73 years, the British Parliament passed. Okay, now look here. Now, why this act was passed? Now, look here, in the charter of 1600, one important line was mentioned. Okay, and according to this charter, the East India Company had to pay 4 lakh pound. Okay, 4 lakh pound yearly to maintain its trade monopoly. Okay, so what was mentioned in Charter of 1600? According to this charter, the company had to pay, East India Company had to pay 4 lakh pound to the British government yearly to maintain its trade monopoly. Getting my points? Okay, in this charter it was clearly mentioned to maintain this trade monopoly which they got for 15 years. 15 years. Okay, to continue this trade monopoly, the company had to pay 4 lakh pound yearly. But since 1768, the companies failed to pay this amount. Okay, failed to pay this amount since 1768. Okay, this was the first. Now, and what happened in 1772? East India Company approached the British government for loan. Okay, East India Company approached to the British government, and at that time North was the Prime Minister of India, the Prime Minister of Britain. So the East India Company approached North government for loan, and this was the opportunity for the North government. This provided opportunity. What happened? According to Charter Act, the company had to pay 4 lakh pound every year to maintain its monopoly over Eastern world. But the company failed. Company was not paying this amount since 1768. And in 1772, the financial condition of a company deteriorated, and the company directors approached to the North government for loan. And this was the opportunity for North government to interfere in the matters of East India Company. Okay, now what the government did? The government appointed a committee. Okay, the government appointed a parliamentary committee. Okay, and on the recommendation of this parliamentary committee, an act was passed, and the act was known as Regulating Act. I hope it is clear to all of you. I hope it is clear to all of you. What happened? Under the Charter Act of 1600, the company got monopoly right, trade monopoly right. But to maintain that trade monopoly right, the company had to pay 4 lakh pound every year to the government. But the company was not paying this amount since 1768. Okay? And in 1772, the directors of the company approached to North government for loan. And this was the opportunity provided by, this was the opportunity for North government to interfere in the matter of East India Company in India. So what North government did? North government formed a parliamentary committee, and on the recommendation of this parliamentary committee, an act was passed from the bill was introduced in the British Parliament, and when the bill was passed, it was named as Regulating Act 1773. Okay, is it clear to all of you? Is it clear to all of you? What was the reason behind the passing of Regulating Act of 1773? I want answer from all of you. I want answer from all of you. Is it clear to all of you? What was the reason? Clear to all of you? The reason behind the passage of Regulating Act of 1773 by British Parliament? Okay, is it clear to all of you? Write down. Okay, so this is very important. This is very, very important. Why British Parliament passed in 1772? Okay, because there was reason, and the reason was, one of the reason was the Charter Act. The Charter, not Charter Act, Charter of 1600. In that charter, it was clearly mentioned about the payment that had to be made by the East India Company to the government, which was 4 lakh pound yearly. And why? To maintain the trade monopoly. But company was not paying. And secondly, the directors of the company approached to the British government for loan. Okay, and this was the opportunity for the British Parliament or the British government to interfere in the matter of East India Company. Okay, why British Parliament was also, when they approached to the company, when the company approached to the North government, why that North government appointed a committee? There was a reason behind that. The first of all, the company approached to North government for loan. On the other hand, in the same year, the company paid 12.5% dividend to their shareholders. So it was contradictory. Company approached to the government for loan, And on the other hand, company has also what did? Dividend, profit to their shareholders. So this is what? Contradictory. So the contradiction was there. And this was the reason. One hand, the company was paying profit, giving dividends. Company was giving dividends to their shareholders. And on the other hand, company was approaching to the government for loan. This was the reason. This was the main. 12.5% dividend was given to the shareholders in 1772. But company was not paying the amount which was mentioned in the Charter of 1600. And apart from that, it was not paying and approached to the government. But on the other hand, the company had paid dividend, profit to their shareholders. So this was the main reason. I hope it is clear to all of you. Now, the objective of this regulating act. So the regulating act was passed. The objective of this regulating act was to regulate the activities of East India Company. In India, company, East India Company activity of, to regulate the activities of East India Company, okay, both in India as well as in Britain. Okay, as well as not Britain, in as well as England. Don't write here Britain, write down here England only. Okay, to regulate the activities of East India Company both in India as well as England. Okay, and remove the deficiencies So this was the objective of, okay, and we all know this was the first act which was passed from British Parliament for India. Okay, now, so by this act, British Parliament wanted to regulate the activities of East India Company both in India as well as in England, because we all know the company was private company and it was a London based country, England based country. Okay, so there are two provisions. First is the provision related to England. Okay, the first is provision related to company's government in Britain or England. Okay, objective. So this is the objective. Now, the objective was to regulate the activities where? In India and in England. The first we will discuss about the provisions related to the administration in England, and then we will discuss about India. Okay, the provision related to company government. Now, first is provisions of regulating act. Okay, now I am going to discuss about the provisions of regulating act. Okay, the provisions of Provisions of Regulating Act 1773. Okay, we will discuss the provisions of Regulating Act under two headings. Okay, number one, the provision related to the provisions related to the administration of East India Company in, okay, related to the provisions related to company's government in England. Okay, and the second provision was the provision related to the company's government in India. Okay, so the provisions of this regulating act, we will study this act, the provisions, under two headings. First is, because the main objective of this regulating act was to regulate the function of East India Company, administration, government, okay, of activities of the East India Company in India as well as in England. Okay, so the first is the provision related to the company's government in England. We will discuss about this first provision, then we will move to the second provision. Okay, now the first is the provision related to company's government in India. The provision related to, okay, the provision related to company's government in Britain or England. Britain. Okay, now look here. There were two institutions in Britain that regulate the activities of company. Okay, there were two institutions that govern the East India Company in Britain. Okay, the first institution was the Court of Directors, or the first institution was the Court of Directors. The Court of Directors. And second institution was the Court of Proprietors. The Court of Proprietors. Okay, so these were proprietors. Okay, the Court of Directors and the Court of Proprietors. These were the two institutions. Okay, and under these two institutions, the entire activities of the company was regulated in Britain. Okay, the Court of Directors had 24 members. Okay, there were 24 members in the Court of Directors. Okay, now what was the provision before before 1773 and before 1773 and after the regulating act? After the regulating act of 1773, look, the shareholders who were holding shares of 500 pounds, what I'm saying, before the regulating act of 1773, all those shareholders holding shares of 500 pounds were eligible to vote for directors. Eligible for vote. Okay, eligible for vote in court of proprietors, not court of directors. Means all those shareholders holding 500 pounds had a right to vote in court of proprietors, and all those shareholders, okay, and the shareholders holding shares of 1000 pounds are eligible to be the member of court of directors, to be eligible for the post of directors. I hope it is clear. All those shareholders holding share of 500 pounds were eligible to vote in court of proprietors, and all those shareholders holding shares of 1000 pounds or more are eligible to be the part of court of directors. Okay, but what happened? This amount was increased by regulating act 1773. Okay, this amount was increased to 1000 pound, and this amount was increased to 2000. Is it okay? Now the second provision was, before the regulating act of 1773, the court of directors were elected for 1 year, but now this was increased for 4 years. Okay, but by the act of regulating 1773 act, the court of directors were elected for 4 years. The tenure was increased from 1 year to 4 years. Is it okay? I hope it is clear to all of you what is the meaning of 500 pound here and what is the meaning of 1000 pound here. Okay, and this was increased to how much? Is it clear to all of you? The point related to 500 pound, the points related to the 1000 pound. I want answer from all of you. I want answer. Is it clear what I have written here before 1723 and what I have written here, the regulating act of after the regulating act of 1773? Is it clear to all of you? I want answer from all of you. Is it clear? Good. Ifra Virendra. I want answer because this is very important point. When you will solve the previous year questions, you will get this question. This, and the next point I am going to discuss. All these 3 points you will get in the previous year question. Okay? Now, the other provision was, and this is what the provision related to the companies government in Britain. Now, this act, the next point is also very important. Provision related to the company government in Britain. Okay? Now, the Regulating Act also directed the directors of the company. This act directed the directors to submit the financial report. Okay? To submit the Regulating Act 1773 directed the directors to submit the annual report, related to the revenue. Okay? The annual report. Okay? Annual report. Okay? This provision, what was the provision? The directors, this act directed the directors to submit the annual, submit the annual report related to revenue of India before the Treasury. Okay, before the Treasury means the Finance Ministry of Britain. Okay, and the military and civil report, civil administration report. Okay, annual military and civil administrative reports to the Secretary of State. Okay, so the provision, so what? The Regulating Act directed the directors of the company to submit the annual report related to the revenue of India before the Treasury. Treasury means the Finance Ministry of Britain. Okay, and they were also directed to submit their military and civil administrative report, annual report, okay, of military and civil administration to the Secretary of State of Britain. Okay, this is also the one of the main provision related to the administration or the company's government in Britain. Is it clear? Okay, so the Regulating Act directed the directors of East India Company to submit their annual financial report related to India before the Treasury, means Finance Ministry of Britain, and annual report related to military and civil administration of India before Secretary of State. This point is clear or not? Now tell me, this is clear? The second provision, the first was related to the Court of Directors and the Court of Proprietors. Okay, this part was clear or not? The first provision was related to the Court of Proprietors and Directors. Now the second provision was the directors were directed. There was a provision in that every year the directors had to report, had to submit the reports related to the revenue of India before the Treasury, and second, the annual report related to military and civil administration of India before Secretary of State. This point is clear or not? I want answer from all of you. Is it clear? Is it clear to all of you? I want answer from all of, because this point is very, very, very important for your pre-examination. Now, provision related to companies government in India. Okay, provision related to company government in India. Okay, the next is, okay, in India. Now, the first provision was for the administration of Bengal Presidency, a new executive was created. For the administration of Bengal Presidency, a new executive, a new council was created. Okay, a new executive was created. Okay, and this new executive was known as Governor in Council, Governor General in Council. Okay, Governor General in Council. Okay, this council had 5 members. Governor General, okay, plus 4 members. Okay, before that there was a Governor of Bengal, but by this first provision right here, okay, write down. First is what? For the administration of Bengal Presidency, a new executive was created, executive council was created, which is known as Governor General in Council, and this council had 5 members. Okay, Governor General and 4 other members. Okay, and the 4 member which was created, a council was created, Governor General Council. The Governor General was Warren Hastings. Okay, he was the first Governor General of Bengal, Warren Hastings. He was the Governor General, and the four members were Monson, Clevering, okay, wait, Monson, Clevering, okay, Monson, Clevering, and other was Philip Francis and Borwell. Philip Francis and Borwell. These were the four members. This was the first executive, Governor General and Governor General in Council. Okay, this was created. Governor General in Council was created. It was a new executive created under the Regulating Act of 1773, and this council had 5 members. Okay, Warren Hastings was the Governor General of Bengal, and there were 4 members: Monson, Clevering, Philip Francis, Borwell. The name of all these members are very important. Remember one thing, this Philip Francis was always against Warren Hastings, and in one of the meeting of Governor General Council, he shoot at Warren Hastings. Okay, so there was always conflict between the Governor General and the board members. Okay, second provision. So this is the first provision. A new council was created for Bengal presidency. Okay, and the new executive council was created, which is known as Governor General in Council, and this council has Governor General and 4 other members. Okay, the name of first council was here. Okay, so you all have to just learn the name of Monson, Clevering, Philip Francis and Borwell. Okay, out of these four members, Philip Francis was always against Warren Hastings. Okay, now the decision of this Governor General Council was taken on majority basis. Okay, so every decision there was a need of majority of this Governor General Council decision. Okay, so the decision was taken on the majority basis. Second provision was the Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal. Okay, and Warren Hastings was the first Governor General of Bengal, and he was also the first and the last Governor of Bengal. So the Governor General of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal. Okay, and Warren Hastings was the first Governor General of Bengal. Okay, this was the second provision. Third provision was the Bombay Presidency. This is very important. Bombay Presidency and Madras Presidency. These 2 presidencies were brought under Bengal Presidency. Okay, these two presidencies were brought under Bengal Presidency. Okay, now the third provision was a Supreme Court was established in 1774. Supreme Court was established A Supreme Court was established by this act in 1774. Okay, with three judges, and the name of these judges are very important. Okay, Supreme Court was established where? In Calcutta. Okay, modern day Kolkata. This was established in 1774, and there were three judges in the Supreme Court. Okay, so the Supreme Court, remember one thing, under Article Government of India Act 1935, Federal Court was established. Okay, but Supreme Court was established. Supreme Court was established where? In Calcutta by the Regulating Act, and in which year? 1774. Okay, and with three judges. Okay, Elijah Impey. Okay, Elijah Impey. Elijah Impey was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and the other were Chambers and Hyde. Chambers and Hyde. So these were the three. Just remember the name of these three. Okay, judges, and he was the Chief Justice. Okay, the Supreme Court was established, and the appeal against the decision of the Supreme Court was made to the Privy Council, which was in Britain. Okay, the King in Council in Britain. Appeal against the decision of this court was made before the King in Council in Britain. The King in Okay, so the appeal against the decision of the Supreme Court was made to the King in the Council, which was in Britain. Okay, so these all were the provisions related to the company government in India. So far today we have discussed only about the two acts. The first was the Charter of 1600, which was not passed by the British Parliament, and second we have discussed about the Regulating Act 1773. Okay, 1773 was the first act passed by British Parliament to regulate the activities of East India Company, not in India only. Okay, not only in the company activity in India, but also in England. Okay, since the company, by this act, the company was regulated, administration of company was regulated both in India and England. So there was a separate provision for England and India. Okay, for England there was a provision for the Court of Directors and Court of Proprietors. Okay, and for India there was a provision for new executive, which was known as the Executive Governor General in Council. Okay, and this was made to regulate the administrations of Bengal Presidency only, not India but Bengal Presidency. The word is what? To regulate the administration of Bengal Presidency, and a new executive was created to regulate the administration of Bengal presidency, not India. Okay? And what happened? A new executive was created for Bengal presidency, which was known as Governor General in Council, which was a 5-member council. Governor General and 4 other members. Okay? And there was all the decision. The council had to take decision on majority, on the basis of majority. But what I have said, there was always conflict between Warren Hastings and other members. And Philip Francis was always against Warren Hastings. And in one of the meeting of Governor General Council, he shoot on Warren Hastings, and fortunately he survived. Okay? The second provision was Governor of Bengal was changed into Governor General. Okay? And the third was Supreme Court was established in England, in Bengal, with 3 members. Okay? Elijah Emphe was the the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and other 2 judges were Chamber and High. And against the decision of this court, appeal can be made, but not in India, but in England. Just like that. Okay? Against the decision of High Court, we can approach to Supreme Court. Okay? Here there was also provision. If someone is not satisfied with the decision taken by the Supreme Court, okay, that person can appeal, but not in India, but they had to appeal in England, and they had to appeal before the king in the council. Okay? So I hope it is clear to all of you. Tomorrow I will start from the Bengal Judicature Act. Okay? Then after that Split India Act, and tomorrow we will complete the other till 1858 we will complete. Okay? Thank you and take care.